Hello, everyone. Happy Father's Day. Hope everybody had a good Father's Day at the end of the day here. So, hopefully, you got to spend some time with your kids or spend time with family or wherever you want to do, whatever it was. Hopefully, it was a good day today, a positive day today. I was just looking up, it had been 2 years ago since I had to call the police so I could see my kids. Wow, hard to believe it's been that long. In some aspects, it seems like longer than that. In other aspects, it seems like it's quicker than that. Um, but how things have progressed and changed and just moved through things. I was talking to my mom earlier today about that, how things have changed and talked about guilt and shame and how we process that. And so, yeah, 2 years. 2 years. And that is the last time today, 2 years ago, was the last time I got a hug or my kids said I love you or call me dad. In 2 years. With that being said, I'm so thankful that their actions indicate differently now. Not that they do say that or give me a hug or say I love you or call you dad, but their actions indicate differently. And I understand it's a complex situation that they're going through, and I'm patient with that and support them in that. They don't need me controlling them to say something or do something or that's one of the things I was talking to my mom today. I feel such a peace in my life, and not we go into relationships or we go into work or whatever it is, and we have this life that we want to see happen, and we have these rules how life should be. And when it doesn't happen that way, we're upset. And that's so crazy because that we're letting the external control our internal. And it's set up for failure. If our success is based on how people react with us, or how fast they text us, or how they say things, or if they say everything, or they put an exclamation point, or whatever that is, if we're basing our success and our happiness off that, we are set up for failure. We have to work in ourselves on loving ourselves and have that self-love and that peace, so it doesn't matter what other people do. I and it's so unfair to people to go into a relationship and think that you want this out of a person. If this person doesn't act this way, they might not know it, but if they don't act a particular way, then we're not going to be happy. We're not going to be satisfied. We're not going to be everything. When we need to look at ourselves and look at our life and the things that happen in our life and release those disturbances so we can be happy. So it's not about somebody else. It's not somebody else, and if they're having a bad day, which makes our day bad, that's no good at all. We need to focus on us and our self-love. And one of the things I spoke to my mom today is that I'm finally at a point, and gosh darn, it's been a long time, and I wish I was a fast learner, but I'm not, evidently, where I want my kids to say, I love you and call me dad. I want that. I yearn for that. But at the end of the day, I don't need that. I don't need that to be happy. I would like it, but I don't need it to be happy. I have enough self-love and enough peace in that situation to know with their actions that they say it. And if they don't say it, it doesn't wreck me. And like I briefly touched on the other day, I held it as a torch or as a cross for so long that I'm going to feel miserable because I made some decisions that negatively impacted the kids. Well, I wasn't the only one. And me holding on to that cross and being miserable for them when nobody knows, nobody's benefiting that. Nobody at all. And the other thing that I dealt with is self-worth, going through that. And I realized after some intense time the last few weeks, last few months, last year, trying to walk through that and self-love and self-worth and setting boundaries and expectations and knowing that your love comes from within, not from somebody else. If it comes from somebody else in certain conditions or whatever it is, you're going to have a hard time. You are going to have a horribly hard time if it's in something from the external, and it's going to be miserable because it's all based on something that you can control. Whereas if it's you, you can control that. You can control how you feel. It may take time. You have to work through it and meditate and be in a place that you can release that. You just have to release it. How you can live in a higher self. What's your highest self that you can do right now? We don't know how long we're going to be on this planet. We know it's not forever. We're going to die. So how do we live as our highest self every day? Because we don't know when that day is going to come. And if we're not living in that highest self and not being the best self and getting rid of that disturbance and getting rid of our past negatives or hanging on to the past positives so we can release that energy and release the flow of energy that'll do countless things. What we can do in 1,000 people do in 100 years, we can do in 10 years because we're tapped into our energy and everything's lined up. But you have to get rid of your disturbances. You have to set yourself up to succeed. Can't go into a relationship needing something. It's so unfair to think that my kids need to respond a certain way so I can feel happy. How unfair is that to them? How unfair is that to me? It sets it up so I'm going to be miserable if they don't react the right way or whatever it is. All I can do is show up with my highest self, and how it goes is how it's going to go. But I know that deep in my heart that it's going to be okay. As life evolves, everything is going to be okay. Everything's going to work out. All we have is this moment. We don't have the past. We don't have the future. All we have is this moment. And we need to drop the past. Come to terms with the past. It's not serving anybody. Just be in this moment. Situational awareness. Being in the moment. Be excited to wake up in the morning and to see how life unfolds. See what comes to you. See what opportunities you have. See how life just unfolds in a miraculous way. Instead of nervous and scared and worried about what's going to happen. That doesn't benefit anybody at all. And we're living a prisoner in our own life. We need to love ourselves. And then maybe I'm the only one that would go through it. But I doubt it. There's a lot of miserable people out there. Love yourself. What do you want? What are your expectations? I dare say sometimes we don't even know. What are your standards? What is your standards in a relationship? Do we know? If we don't know, how can we set boundaries? How can we have expectations that are met? It's totally unfair to put us or somebody else in that situation. When we can show up and serve and not worried about, oh my gosh, I hope I say this thing right. I hope I do this right. I hope I say that. And then they'll like me. How pathetic is that? Be yourself. As long as you're your highest self, that's success. If people don't like you the way you are, okay, that's all right. They were going to be good for you anyways. I heard Dr. Stephanie Lynn say, amazing person, or say that you have to decide if you want somebody in your life. That really took me by surprise. I just felt like you had to deal with people in your life. No. She says you have to decide if you want somebody in your life. If they're miserable, they're not good for you, and they don't put you in your highest self, you have to ask yourself, do you need to be in that relationship? And not everybody's going to be perfect every day. But as the core of who they are you happy with that? Is somebody you want in your life? And again, and not to fill you, you got to be full. You got to work on yourself so you are good. You don't need somebody else to make you happy. You need to make yourself happy. Because if you're not happy, you can't make somebody else happy. And relying on them to make you happy is a set up for failure. Work on yourself. Spend your time with yourself. And like I said the other day, if it's going for a walk, 15 minutes, half hour, whatever it is, there's other ways. There's ways to do it. Meditate, whatever works for you. Everybody's got a busy schedule. I understand that. You may not have time in the morning. You got little kids you got to get around and get together and get them to school or get them to wherever they need to go. So you might not have it in, but just fit it in. Fit a little bit in. As Jay Shetty says, find meaning in your life, whatever that is. Find meaning in it. Whatever you're going through right now, you're where you need to be. Stop beating yourself up. Stop beating yourself up of, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not. If you will never get where you want to be if you're constantly in lack. Your brain cannot go and be creative when it's in resistance to it and not thankful. It's impossible. Two sides of the brain. You cannot do it. You need to be grateful and thankful for where you're at. Doesn't mean you're settling where you're at, but you need to come from a spot of gratefulness. Think about all that, just the fact that you are here. Like Michael Singer says, 13.8 billion years to get to this point. Be one with life. You're right where you're supposed to be. Enjoy the moment. You can't beat yourself out about the past. It doesn't matter. You did the best you could do based on the situation, based on everything was going on, based on your awareness, based on where you were at. It's over. You gotta move on. You're doing nobody any good. You must move on. Self-love. So important. So important. You are the one that you need to work on. You first. You need to be whole. You need to be the better person so you can show up with your highest self. There's so much energy. They talk about this so much. There's so much energy that's coming out of you. You couldn't control the amount of energy that's going to come out of you once you get rid of the junk in your body. Get rid of the disturbances that you're holding on to. Get rid of the past. Get rid of all the things that hinder you from having your flow. Once your flow comes through, watch out. You are, as Kyle C says, the universal time. You're not on regular time, you're in universal time. You can do so much when you're aligned and you get the garbage out of your life. You are infinite. You can do anything if you're aligned and you believe it. You are amazing. Just the fact that you're alive is amazing. Enjoy that. Embrace it. Embrace the fact that you're alive. As Gary Vee says, 1 in 7 trillion or whatever it is that you're even here. That's crazy. And yet we get upset because it rained today. Really? Embrace the day. We're part of this universe. A little piece of this universe. It's not all about us. It's how we fit in the universe. And like Michael Singer says, if it rains, Be all right with the rain. Just relax and release it. It's okay. It's bigger than you. If it rains, it's going to be just fine. If somebody cuts you off in traffic, just because they drive 10 miles an hour slower and you drive 5 miles an hour faster doesn't make you right and them wrong. And, like as Michael Singer says, relax and let it go at that time. Because you're mad at them, you're yelling at them, screaming at them, and so you have all day, and maybe all day, or actually your whole day, that you're miserable because you're mad because somebody cut you off. We're part of this universe. Remember Kyle Cease one time said, if somebody, he was doing a talk and he was gonna get done at 8 o'clock, and he said, what happened if it went to 8:05? And then you got in your car and you went down the road and you hit a light that you might not have hit. So maybe 30 seconds. So he said probably would say it's 10 seconds. And so maybe you hit a light that you weren't going to hit. So you get stopped at that light. The person behind you got stopped and they went on, you went on your way. They went to a grocery store and they met the love of their life. And the only reason they met the love of their life is because you were 10 seconds late getting out of that event and you hit that red light and they met the love of their life. But yet we're mad we hit the light. It's so much bigger than us. So much bigger than us. We're just part of this universe. It's our job to embrace it, enjoy it, and be our highest self. That's what we need to do. Again, I hope you had a great Father's Day. I appreciate the comments, appreciate reaching out to you guys, and we will talk soon. Have a great day.